The Nintendo Switch is teeming with fun-looking indie games. Of course, I picked some of my favorites. And you're going to want this awesome Optimus Prime, but good luck finding it. All that and the latest and everything cool today in The Rundown. Hey, welcome to The Rundown, everybody. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, and it's wonderful to see you here all today. This is great. We are doing the Rundown Live, which is something that we do from time to time. So if you happen to catch the archive of this stream and you're watching the Rundown as a separate video, thank you for watching it. But you can join us and be a part of this incredible group of people that watches the show live. And the chat is just phenomenal. And speaking of which, I'm going to dedicate today's show for Virgilio Carnero, who I haven't said that name in at least a little while, so I wanted to dedicate the show to that person today. Let's get started with the Rundown. Now, the big news today, of course, is that Nintendo had lots of indie games to show off at their Indie World showcase earlier today. They had, I think, about 15 or 20 different games that were on display. We're flashing through a whole bunch of them. Here's that Labyrinth game, which looks like a Where's Waldo. We've got this cool sort of woven experience in there. Lots of 2D experiences, some cool little 3D games, but there were some pretty big standout moments, like this Road 96 game that they showed off, this kind of adventure-style experience where you can choose a bunch of different paths. I always love that Nintendo is showcasing some of the talent that's making these games as well. This one was Never Yield from an indie developer out of Detroit. Last Stop is one that Annapurna is going to be publishing later on this year, and it looks like a lot of fun. 3 interwoven stories there, and it's really, kind of crazy to me how much Annapurna just really is able to focus on all kinds of really cool. They're amazing curators over there. I feel like it's like a horse race between Devolver and Annapurna, but I've been very impressed by what they've been up to. They also showed off their Hindsight game, which looks like it's going to delve into memory and emotion, and it looks really, really strong. This one is out today, actually, and it looks bleak as hell. You play this character that has to kind of live for about 400 days. It's called The Longing. And you can do nothing in that game, which is crazy. And speaking of doing nothing, this is a sort of a mixed genre experience called There Is No Game, and it looks like it's a lot of fun and very tongue-in-cheek, and it looks like a great addition to the Switch indie lineup, and that one is also available today, which is pretty cool. I love when they stealth drop new releases. And there's also demos, like the Never Yield game. You can play the demo of that right now. That's going to be coming out later. But we also got to look at Chris Tales, which is very much like a sort of a traditional JRPG, but you can play with manipulating time and making characters become younger in real time, which is kind of crazy. This one is all about the Aztec lore. It's Aztec Forgotten Gods. It's beautiful imagery here. This looks quite ambitious, like we've got 3D characters and 3D action. There's a lot of 2D stuff in the lineup, so this one really stood out, and it's being developed in Mexico. This one is, speaking of 2D action, it's called Skull, and what you can do is take off your head and become a bunch of different characters with different abilities by removing your skull, kind of like, what was it, Deadhead Fred back in the day? But super cool ideas, and, I love that Nintendo, it has become such a great home for so much indie development. The Switch is really a perfect fit for experimentation. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the indie love that Nintendo shows as it increases in horsepower. But I think what's happened, and I think you guys will probably agree with me, is that a lot of indie developers out there have kind of supplanted the sort of AA investments that a lot of publishers used to make. They don't really do that anymore. They kind of swing for the fences, or they make massive games like Outriders, which are sort of expected to go on and on and on for years and years. So it's really, important, I think, that indie developers out there kind of picked up the slack and said, look, there's a place out there for games that are 5-10 hours, and you finish them and then you move on. We tell a story, maybe we dip into your emotions. Maybe we dip into your nostalgia. That is a huge part of indie development. But I love that Nintendo and the Switch specifically have become such a great home for it. And it's not saying that the Xbox and the PlayStation platforms aren't also great homes. And of course, every indie game, I think, kind of starts its life on the PC. And pretty much every single thing that I've talked about out there is going to be available on other platforms as well. But it's clear that Nintendo likes to showcase them and make a big deal about these relationships. And I love it. I think it's awesome. Now, those were some of the games, but of course, I did have some favorites from Indie World today. We're going to start off with, here's a little look at behind the scenes at Roll 7, Ollie Ollie World. I love the Ollie Ollie games that I used to play on the Vita, rest in peace. I just was so addicted to these experiences, but now they've expanded out the experience of Ollie Ollie, and it's a little bit more like a platformer, and you're going to meet crazy characters and go on divergent paths and stuff. Really looking forward to this one. Comes out in the wintertime. This one blew my mind. This is a new one from Konami. Yep, they're still making games. Let me see if I can get this right. Getsu Fumaden, Undying Moon. And it's based actually on a classic 1980s Famicom game, which wasn't released here. But what's interesting is that next month, this is going to be available in early access on Steam, and if you buy the early access, you get a port of that classic Famicom game, which is kind of cool. But look at this art style. It's just stunning. It looks absolutely incredible, and it's also described as kind of like a roguevania. So it's roguelike Metroidvania, I guess in the vein of Dead Cells or something, but with artwork like this, I am gobsmacked. Can't wait for that. Also, I'm sure many of you were as shocked as I was to see the House of the Dead remake, which is coming up from publisher Forever Entertainment. They did that Panzer Dragoon remake not too long ago for the Nintendo Switch, and that was pretty good. And I'm expecting that this is going to be pretty good too. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle the light gun mechanics, the shooting mechanics. I guess presumably we're going to be able to point our Joy-Con at the screen, and I don't know about the precision and stuff, but this looks fun. It looks really like a slick experience. But I will say that if you're talking about light gun shooters and you're not making a VR port of a game like this, you're missing the mark, you know, because games like this with the touch controls that a lot of the VR devices have, even going to the Move controllers on the existing PlayStation VR, those are fantastic homes for light gun experiences. So, yeah, very curious about the House of the Dead remake. I want to hear from you guys. Are you excited to see the House of the Dead, Sega's classic arcade experience, back? At least on the Nintendo Switch. I presume it's going to be on several platforms. And if they don't make a VR version of that, I don't know what they're doing. But yes, of course, the thing that I'm most excited about is Tribute Games, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. I loved that we got to see a couple of the guys from Tribute. They're clearly as ecstatic and excited that they are making this as we are to be able to play this. This is tapping all of the nostalgic buttons. You know, this is something that I am just incredibly excited about because of my side-scrolling superhero, all of those videos that I've been making. And the Turtles have made lots of fantastic side-scrolling experiences. So that's the challenge for Tribute, but it looks like it's going to be amazing. It looks like they've really nailed the vibe and the flow and the combat and the different animations for each of the different turtles. It just looks crazy fun. I cannot wait to get this game and play this game, and I'm going to have to stream this game with some EPN friends, I think. I think we have to do that, whether it's people that we know and love that have been on the show or some of you, but we're doing it. I can't wait for Shredder's Revenge. But I've got one more thing that I wanted to tell you guys about. We got Kevin Smith here, and it's Jay and Silent Bob. I forget the other guy's name. You guys can tell me in the chat there. Jason Mewes. Yes, yeah, of course. They are showing off a brand new Optimus Prime toy. It's a collectible that Hasbro showed off in their Pulse event a couple of days ago. And the crazy thing about this, apart from the fact that it's sold out and you're not going to be able to get one, is that it is fully automated. It has voice commands, so you can talk to it and it will do things. You can also connect with it through the app and kind of take control of it. It will walk in robot form. It will drive in truck form, and it will, as you just saw, it will transform back and forth between the two. And it does it pretty flawlessly. It's an incredible toy, and it cost a ton. It's $700 American. They run through some of the specs in here. It's 5,000 components. It's 19 inches tall, and it has lots of microchips in there and lots of complex systems in there. But it's insane. It will actually recognize you and wave at you. It doesn't just sort of stand still. It really does look like it is fully alive. And I think what it does is it sort of pushes us forward on this reconciliation that we're all being forced into, that robots are among us. I just saw a video clip of a robot dog walking around with New York police officers yesterday on YouTube, and robots are delivering pizzas and stuff like that. Well, now we're going to have, and we've had robot toys for a while, but we're going to start to have, we're going to edge closer and closer to having autonomous robot toys. If we've got an Optimus Prime that converts like that, how far away are we from having an R2-D2 that we can sort of talk to and get to do chores and things like that? Like, go sweep, R2. Spider-Man will talk to me. Hey, Spidey, will he wake up? See, my Spidey, that's last gen, so that's a robot that's not really, cutting edge right now. Doesn't move either. But yeah, we are living in the age of robots, and it's pretty crazy. Let me know if anybody's in the chat or anybody that watches the archive of this video, if they are one of the lucky ones that's able to pick up this Optimus Prime, because it looks amazing, and I promise we won't be jealous of you. We're all going to be so jealous if you get one of those things. Super cool. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown today, but I'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new, fresh episode for you, so please come back for that. I want to thank all of our subscribers. Thank you so much. Hit that subscription button and that notification button if you'd like to join up. And thank you, of course, to all of our EPN members. We'll see you tomorrow, and until then, play forever.